Why do Agile experts encourage a shift from project to product? Not all of them do, let's say that up front. But many people would say if you're going to be working in the product space, you probably want to focus on products, not projects. Projects being a thing with a start date, an end date, and a plan to deliver whatever the outcome is. And it's in that the problem of the project comes about. So we've probably got a start date, that's easy. But an end date? Well, when does a product truly end? Only when the last user is no longer using it. Okay? So how do you determine that up front? How do you set a project running with an indeterminate end date? Well, it's no longer a project. Okay, so we don't tend to do that. I'm sure some companies have played around with that idea, and I would love to know how it went for them. But traditionally, it's got a start date and an end date. Okay, and that is because for accounting purposes and traditional management purposes, it's much easier. We know these people are going to be focused on this thing for this period of time, and at the end of it, they'll be done with that and they can move on. Well, yes, absolutely. It does simplify that problem greatly. That's not the hard problem to solve. What we want is to be able to say, we're going to start on this date and we're going to be working toward building a great product. Okay? And while it makes sense, we're going to have people working on it and we're going to continue evolving and adapting our product to be a great customer fit, a great market fit. And when it doesn't make sense anymore, hopefully that means that we've built something that is better, something else that they can go to. So we're going to move our users over there instead. And at that point, we can close this down. But we don't know when that date will be. So a project starts running into problems. The third part that I mentioned, start date, end date, and a plan. Well, that plan bit, we can have a plan. Plan's good. Planning is great. It's absolutely imperative to what we do. But plans change. Plans evolve. Things happen. We need to respond to change. Okay? So any plan that we have, we know is wrong. We know is going to change. We don't know how and we don't know when. So that traditional project idea of we're just going to follow this plan and we're going to do exactly as we say just doesn't work. Okay? We can do it. Many people in the Agile world bash that traditional linear approach and say we can't do it. We can do it brilliantly. That's not the problem. The problem is if we do it, there's a high risk that we will deliver something nobody wants. And I'm sure if, like me, you've got some grey in your hair, you've been involved in that, delivering a thing that the people at the other end don't want anymore. It's exactly what they wanted 18 months ago. They don't need it today because their needs have changed. Okay? So the reason that we move away from projects to products is a project doesn't support the problem space we work in. We can have a start date, but the rest of it doesn't really help. Okay? Except when it does. Don't throw projects out just because we've got product. Okay? Because at times, do you know what we have? We have a clear start date, we have a clear end date, and we have a pretty good idea of what that plan is to deliver. It's complicated work, more likely than complex. It's knowable. If you get the right people in the room, give them enough time and enough coffee, they can create a plan to deliver it. Project, use it. It's exactly what it's for. But please consider products as well. Is this thing going to exist and evolve beyond when you're funding it? And if so, look at how you fund things, because your product will outlive your project. But if it has no money to be maintained, to keep shifting and evolving, it's going to get worse. Entropy is going to kick in. And you can spend huge amounts of money many years later trying to fix a problem that the project created. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.